Hi everyone. I thought today I would do a quick Q&A. Now, I just recently started my garden channel, but I've had a couple questions about my garden and about myself. So I thought today I would give you a little history of our garden so that you could see where we started just 3 years ago. And I'd also tell you a little bit about me. So, first off, our garden, we purchased our home in November of 2021. It is a 1900s restored vintage Victorian style home. So, the house had been in this area. It originally was an orchard, a pear orchard, and our house and our two neighbors were part of the orchard. And then, of course, over the years, they developed this area and built our home. And it's only had one other owner, and we just feel really privileged to have the home. Everything was kept on the interior, the beautiful wood, and we were fortunate that it was restored when we purchased it. However, the yard was a complete blank slate. So that was good for me as a gardener, but it was also something I had never experienced. Previous homes we had always came with the yard laid out, the flower beds laid out, and I would have to work around those. Well, with this house, everything, it was a complete mud pit. It was mud and dirt from the back of our house all the way to the very end of our property. So, luckily, we purchased the home in late November. So, I had the winter to start thinking and planning and dreaming. I had discovered a lady out of England that does helps people develop a garden plan for their home. And it was not real expensive at all. She's not doing it anymore, or I would share the link. She has moved on and has done gardens for Chelsea and um, lots of places in Europe. But we reached out to her, sent her photos, we did a Zoom call, and she helped give me the initial layout of what I call the formal garden. And she really just took my ideas and helped me put them on paper. So I'll share now with you a sketch of what she had developed. Now, we took that sketch and working with our landscaper who was going to do our patio, we had to modify it, of course, due to scale, budget, all of those factors. So we really had three components that we wanted in the garden. First, we wanted right outside of our home, we wanted an outdoor living space. We love to be outdoors, to entertain, and just to enjoy that space. So we created a very large patio. It's basically a third of our back area space, very large patio, but we built it so that I could fill it with plants, containers, and plants all the way around it on three sides. So it is definitely part of the garden. It is just a beautiful stone patio that we did have built. From there, you step up into what is the main lawn of the home. And from there, the design was to have two perennial beds flanked with two trees. We chose two crabapple trees. They're a persistent version of a crabapple, and they are one of my favorite trees. In the spring, they're beautiful pink. Then they create these gorgeous berries that stay on the tree and ripen into the winter. And right at Christmas time, the birds just devour them. So I really love the tree. It's growing, and eventually the beds underneath will be more shade beds. I have filled those with hydrangeas, some grasses, salvias, some ground cover, ajuga, and I do some annuals to fill in the spaces and some beautiful bulbs in the early spring. I also have it flanked by some roses, but unfortunately, I am going to move those this spring due to the amount of shade the area is receiving. So after those two beds, there is some lawn. We wanted, and she recommended, a green space, kind of like an open center lawn area to really ground the space and give your eyes somewhere to rest and land. And we really like it's just a very simple, we use an electric lawnmower and it just works great. Actually, it's a battery powered lawnmower. So along the edges are our long borders. So we have two long borders that go the length of the property. And I have filled those with a variety of shrubs, some more roses, hydrangeas, large trees like arborvitaes that will provide some privacy and some structure in the garden space. Once you get past the lawn, the next area, really the third area of the garden, was our cutting garden. So when we started the garden, I wanted a space to grow dahlias, start things from seed, really have a true English cutting garden. And so that is what we built at the end of the garden. So it really had three sections: cutting garden, the lawn, and the perennial kind of crabapple beds surrounded by beautiful long borders. Now, our designer from England had recommended hedging everything, but I didn't want to spend my money on hedges. I also knew that that required a lot of maintenance. So I have added some boxwoods and some hedging plants to the garden for structure and winter interest, but I decided against boxing the space in. We also, our neighbor's property is untouched. It's got one large tree, but it's just grass, and it opens up to the sky and other trees in our area. We're in a historic Main Street district. And so I just didn't want the house to be boxed in. I felt like it needed to fit the area, which is really very rural. We're out here where there's farms surrounding our property. So we've left it that way. Then after that raised bed garden is our driveway, and we left it where it originally was. People would park up here and walk down through the garden into the house, and we've kept it the same. And then beyond the driveway is what is known as my shade garden, and that's where my floral studio, where I'm sitting today, is located. So this area is a beautiful small little part of our property. It ends at the back where we have a small fence, and it is shaded. It's shaded by two very large sugar maples, some small maples, some pine trees, and a very large English holly tree. And so I'm very fortunate that we have this shaded area. I love shade plants. And so I've just filled it, and this is one that I've been working on a lot over the past 3 years. Now, one change that I'll tell you about is over the past year, next year will be a second year, I actually have removed the raised beds. So we started with very small cedar raised beds to just get a feel for the space. And as I've been in the space, I really decided that I didn't like, they were very close together. I didn't feel like the plants had enough room to really thrive. And I just didn't love the look of it. So I started last early spring. I took out one whole side, the left side, and filled it with shrubs, perennials, roses, a rose of Sharon, sunshine ligustrum, just lots of plants to fill the space. And then this year, at the end of the growing season, I took up the right sides raised beds, and I'm planting that. I have planted it before winter, and I'll be adding to it this spring. That bed has a magnolia tree in it, so I will probably refer to it as my magnolia tree bed. I'm really excited to have these spaces as they are. I am still going to grow seeds. I am still going to do dahlias, but I'm going to place them within the garden space, and I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot better. So that is one change that I've made since I started my garden. I think that's the main change that I've made. We continue to work on the borders of our property. I've had to move some things that got too big. I've had to change out some hydrangeas that weren't doing well. So just little things that we all have to do in our garden. But that's just a little bit about the history of our space, how my garden was designed, and kind of where it is as of today. So I hope that that gives you a little backstory and history. All right, so I've gotten a couple questions about my experience and my background as a gardener. So I am not formally trained. I am a home trained gardener trained by my grandmother and my mother. So I grew up in gardening. My grandmother that was her passion, was flowers, her yard, one yard of the month, just about every month of the year. She was always out tinkering in her garden up until she could no longer have one. She grew up farming and on a farm, and she grew vegetables, she grew plants, she did it all. but she mainly loved blooming flowers. I think spring was one of her favorite times of year with the peonies, the irises. She loved to walk my mom and I and my sisters around her garden and talk about what was blooming and what was doing well. In addition to that, my mom and dad loved to garden, landscape all of their homes, as well as they also grew vegetables and had a farm when I was younger. So I think it just came naturally. I've helped my mother many times. I used to mow our grass and help when they had projects. And I just grew up going to blackberry farms and strawberry picking and all of those really wonderful things as a child. So as I got older and had my own homes, I began developing the garden spaces. And with lots of help from my mother, I learned about the right perennials, the right grasses, the right things to add to my space to thrive, and the things that I really liked. And I started really working on my style of designing the spaces around me. So we have owned a lot of homes. And so over the years, I've been able to work on lots of spaces. We also moved to Texas about 10 years ago. We lived there for 10 years in Austin. And so that was an entirely different climate and different space. And I loved it. I was able to explore different plant styles, different design styles, and it was really fun. But moving back to Virginia and back to the East Coast, and now we're outside DC and Maryland, I've gotten to go back to my roots of more of an English style garden with all of those fluffy, beautiful plants like hydrangeas, peonies, salvias, sedums, just, all of those beautiful things, irises, and the grand trees that we have here. And then I've really been learning about some new plants and incorporating those into my garden. One of the favorite things I grew last year, which my mother was very surprised about, was Gladiolas. They come from bulbs, and I had seen them growing at some of my neighbors. I think they've been there a really long time. So I ordered some bulbs and threw them in the ground, and I absolutely loved them. I think they're making a comeback. I hope they become a little more popular. I know there are some new varieties, and I can't wait to grow some of those this year. So I am into learning new things, experimenting. Not everything that I grow works. Sometimes I've had to adjust and move things around. But over the years, I've just practiced, played. My mother has been an avid gardener until the past year when she's had to downsize. And so I've just worked with her, learned from her when to cut things back, when to let things grow a little longer, when to be patient with plants, and all of those great gardening tips. So that's a little bit about me. I am a mom to two young adult kiddos, and we have two Labradoodles, Wilson and Charlie, that you will surely see in videos. I'm also a photographer, so I use my garden and my space for photography workshops, photography styling sessions, still life. I do my bouquets for workshops, and so that is one of my passions. I really bring my art of photography and my love for gardening and put those two together. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about me, a little bit about my garden, and I can't wait to share more with you this spring as we get going. I wanted to start this channel when we moved to this property, but life just gets in the way sometimes. And so I decided at the end of this year, 2024, I was going to really give it my all. It's an opportunity for me to capture what I'm doing in the garden, but it's also an opportunity to share. I know that today we live in a virtual world, and that's how we connect. And so I just want to share my successes, failures, love of gardening. I may throw in some fun other photography things that I'm working on, my dogs, and just life out here in Maryland, Zone 7B. So I hope you'll subscribe, like, comment. I really want this to be a supportive gardening community. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.